Faster than the police allow. That is something we expect from the high-performance tuner Brabus. When it comes to the Smart, it's a bit different. It's a city car, and not very fast. The early generations in particular were not renowned for speed. Still, Smart and Brabus have worked together for 15 years now, and they say you could even go racing with the latest Smart Brabus. Let's see what it can do. Brabus has turned up the power, more than 20% more in this racy racing version than in a regular Smart with the biggest 66 kilowatt or 90 horsepower engine. That boost takes more than a tweaking of the software. Christopher Schulenburg of Smart explains how they found almost 20 horsepower more. Brabus reduced the exhaust back pressure and raised the boost pressure in the turbocharger. To give it a sporty ride, Brabus cut gearshift times by up to 40%, made the steering more responsive, and adjusted the triggering thresholds in the electronic stability program. The suspension is 20% tauter than in the regular models. When you corner fast, it almost feels like you're driving a go-kart. Our car tester Mata says that a go-kart would hug the road a bit more. Oh, here comes another chicane. It's pushing a bit on the front wheels, but it's not too bad. And you notice that in good time. So Matas feels pretty much in control here on the racetrack. He says he would like to see more lateral support in the seats, though. They are more suited for long trips than racetracks. Still, it's great fun zipping around this course, he says. Laugh out loud fun. Of course, you can't compare a Smart Brabus with a real sports car in terms of performance. But why should you? It is more about fast fun than competitive racing. At any rate, it makes you want to just keep on going round the track, he says. But the Smart Brabus is designed to be fun both on the track and a good means of transport on the streets of the city, he says. So let's turn our attention to that now. The exterior is not the same as that of its mass-produced siblings. It has different aerodynamics and a brawnier, in-your-face look. On the road, it is still zippy, but more sedate than on the track. There just aren't the same curves here. Mata says you have different requirements on a country road and on a racetrack. The very sensitive steering is great on the track, but too responsive, almost jumpy on the road. On the other hand, the seats don't give you enough support on the track, but are just fine under normal driving conditions. With 170 Newton meters of torque, you can charge out of a curve smartly. It is anything but dull. Cruising through the countryside, we can take a moment to inspect the interior. Matas likes the mix of leather and fabric on the dashboard. The Smart Brabus may have been souped up, but it's not a guzzler. Fuel consumption is just a tad higher than in the series production models. The Smart Brabus also behaves very well on the motorway. While the regular Smarts come with manual transmission, The smart Brabus comes only with a specially tuned dual clutch transmission with additional levers on the steering wheel to change gear manually, says Mattes. But that is really more suited to the track than the real world. The gears shift so well by themselves, you really don't need to get involved. This Smart is so good, you could go far with it. Except, isn't there that issue with the steering? What Mattes said about the steering being jumpy on a country road, well, that does not apply on the motorway, even at high speed. The maximum is given at 165 kilometers an hour. It's no problem with staying in your lane, even though you might make an unintentional maneuver with the steering wheel. It is really good. But we should not forget that the Smart is basically and originally a town car. The Brabus version has the same modest turning circle of under 7 meters. And it is so elegant, it blends right in here in snazzy downtown Düsseldorf. All that power has to be kept in check in city traffic, says Mattes. If you feel the need to keep up with the posh limos here, it will be the stylish bodywork that does it. A universal problem for motorists is finding a parking place. They are in short supply almost everywhere. In that respect, it is great that the Smart is so short. So in theory, it should be easier to find a parking spot. But in practice, that would only work if everybody else drove a Smart as well. So to sum up, the Smart for 2 obviously won't do for a family of 4, since it only has 2 seats and a tiny trunk. But for in town, it is cool and it is smart. It's swift on the track too. And for long distances, it is a comfortable way to get from A to B.